In today's video, protesters can't even explain why they're protesting President Trump. Bernie Sanders calls out the Democratic Party again, and Democrats want you to believe that Republicans have buyer remorse.
What are we protesting today?
Donald Trump.
What's Donald Trump doing that we're protesting?
Well, he is fucking up the American democracy right now and trying to kind of repeal a bunch of shit in the Constitution, like, you know, rights and liberties. So,
is there anything in specific that he's...
I don't have all the information, but I do know.
What are you against?
Personally, I'm against tyrants. I'm against tyranny. That's what I'm against.
And who do you think is doing that?
Currently, Donald Trump and Elon Musk and all of his cabinet members.
Why Elon Musk, though?
The Department of Government Efficiency, he was put in charge of a department that doesn't even exist before this, and he's not even an American.
Who's not an American?
Elon Musk.
Okay,
He's from South Africa. I don't know if you knew that.
How do you feel about Donald Trump?
I think that he deserves to die.
He should what?
Die.
Okay.
That's how I feel.
All right, so the only way to respond to people like that is just with facts, really, and that is that Elon Musk is a citizen of America. He holds an American citizenship, okay? Yes, he was born in South Africa, but he is an American citizen. That's number one. Number two, even though Joe Biden did the damage he did, I never once wished for him to die. Now, that just shows you the mental crisis that's taken place on the left, and it's unfortunate. But these are the people who are continuing to participate in these protests. Now, the credit for these videos is linked in the description below. I think he has a lot of good interactions in these protests. So if you want to dive deeper, just go to the description below this video and you could check out his account on TikTok. Now, let's go to this next clip.
So if you could have a Tesla Cybertruck brand new right now, would you take it?
No.
Why is that?
I don't support Elon or anything about him.
I will throw my spouse under a bus before I will throw the person that I voted for under a bus.
No.
So you don't want Trump to be the president?
I would rather not.
Would you prefer Kim Kardashian to be the president?
No, I'm good.
This administration has cut U.S. aid, and I find that reprehensible. I see no alternative position to that. So I guess, you know, people that are starving, people that have to pay for water, I just think we should give a damn about each other. I guess that's my position.
What is U.S. aid?
U.S. aid is the allotment that is guaranteed to help people in impoverished places to have, like, medical care, for instance.
Is that like in here in the United States?
No.
It's where?
So, okay. Wait, you asked me a question. I'll try to finish it because you're giving me some tough questions about specifics. I don't have facts. I don't have like a sheet of information with me.
Yeah, so I believe that sums up exactly what's wrong with the individuals that were participating in these protests yesterday. I believe it's a flop because I don't know what their end goal is exactly. I don't see how they got anything out of it except their ability to scream and cry about something, I guess, as a group. That's what we witnessed yesterday. And furthermore, they're not even educated on the issues. And even worse, you got people willing to throw their spouses under a bus, a set of the elected officials that has continued to lie and fail them every step of the way, which is the Democratic Party. And this takes us to our second story, where Democrats in the media want you to believe that Republicans have buyer remorse about President Trump because they had nothing else. So they have to repeat a lie over and over and over again, hoping that people will believe it. Take a look.
Who are we to blame for those jobs being offshored over the past 40 years?
David,
hold on. We did this Democratic and Republican.
From Michigan about brown people.
Listen, you don't have to tell the congresswoman from Michigan about brownfield sites.
Please, hold on.
I invite you to come to my district and listen to Republicans in my district who are saying they regret their vote.
Let me finish. Donald Trump is trying to rectify bad policy, Republican and Democratic policy over the past 40 years. So it's going to be a little painful to get these jobs to come back. We've had policies which have encouraged manufacturing to go overseas.
Now, I guess you're going to have to make a decision on who you believe. President Trump is now experiencing a higher approval rating after his tariff announcement at 53%, a 4% increase. But Democrats want you to believe that we all have buyer remorse, and this is not what we voted for. So again, who do you believe?
I guarantee you, if you told Americans, would you be willing to pay $1 more for tube socks if we made them in America? they would say, sure, we'll take that pain. And that's what's happening.
Maybe you and I would, David. I don't know that.
Jake, I think every American would do it because we want to make
afford it. We can afford it.
We want to make things. Listen, we want to make things in America. And if you explain to people, Jake, that $1.50 would go to their neighbors who are working in factories in America, they would take it day in and day out. I promise.
Again, I invite you to come.
I will go. Let's go. We'll go together. I'll come with you. You come to Eloquent.
The town halls that we have been doing, where we are seeing Republicans and Democrats alike. I went to a county that Trump won by 20 points. Hundreds of people showing up and saying, I'm a Republican. I voted for Trump, and this is not what I voted for.
Let's just say the Congresswoman is absolutely correct. Republicans are mad. They're showing up at these town hall meetings. They want answers. Fine. 1 year from now, if tariffs actually work out and prices are low across the board, then what? Will they still feel the same? I mean, I think that is a legitimate question. It's easy to get caught up in the moment, but there's no elections right now. So when midterms rolls around and things are more positive than they are today, and tariffs have proven to work and interest rates are low and everything is low, then what? Now, here is MSDNC following suit on the same talking point that there is buyer remorse.
We went and talked to 50 Wall Street leaders. And again, we didn't want to get the Main Street of Wall Street. We wanted the leaders, the Howard Lutnick types, billionaire investors, people running big money, asset managers, top wealth advisors. And, there's a lot of buyer's remorse on Wall Street right now. We saw of these 50, 72% said this is not effective. 66% said they do not support Trump's policies. And more interestingly, of people, we polled whether or not they were a Trump supporter going in to this new Trump term. And more than a third of the respondents said they no longer support Trump's economic policy. So you're seeing kind of a consensus forming on Wall Street, and a lot of people sitting there pulling out their hair. And I'm getting texts the last 48 hours. What is going on from people who are, we're supporting Trump and we're supporting these, his economic regimen.
All right. Well, there's only one or two ways to look at this. One is to the eyes of a middle-class worker, average American, probably doesn't have money in the stock market, maybe has a 401k. They care less what Wall Street thinks, because we know Wall Street, they've been eating for quite some time now. Over the last 4 years, they won and Main Street lost. And that brings me to the second perspective. Okay, well, are these individuals on Wall Street, these leaders, are they more upset because they don't like that there's uncertainty and they want to be able to predict things? And so they're upset that there is a change, a transition in the policy, and they don't like it. Now, here's another clip that debunks the idea that there is remorse when it comes to President Trump, because even unions are backing President Trump's strategy on tariffs. Take a look at this exchange.
Let me ask you, because another group you're in touch with, the United Auto Workers Union, you have a lot of that. They have supported you for years and years and years. They were excited to have you on the Democratic ticket. President Trump argues that these tariffs are needed to bring American manufacturing back and to help American workers left behind in places like Minnesota. He has support from the UAW. The UAW called his auto tariffs, quote, a long overdue shift away from a harmful economic framework that has devastated the working class. It signals a return to policies that prioritize the workers who build this country rather than the greed of ruthless corporations, unquote. I have to say, that sounds a lot like language you would use. What do you say to the UAW?
Yes. It is what I would use. And here's the thing that the Democrats have to figure out. Donald Trump's language around this, he's not wrong that we've had manufacturing gutted. He's not wrong that we saw an outshoring. People of my generation were told, there aren't going to be any manufacturing jobs, so you need to go to college and rack up student loan debt. The problem is Donald Trump's solution to this is not the solution. Now, UAW is right. Certain tariffs, if they're on to steel or if they're targeted correctly, do make a difference. That's not what we're dealing with here.
So it seems like we're having to repeat ourselves here. Democrats have an easy time criticizing the tactics of President Trump, but they provide no solution whatsoever. In fact, in most of these policy decisions that President Trump is enacting, it's a response to the failed decisions from Democrats. So it's a double whammy, in my opinion. They caused the problem. Now they're trying to criticize the person who's trying to solve the problem, and they still offer no solutions.
How long do you anticipate this tariff chaos is going to be going on? 30 days, 60 days, 90 days?
Well, first of all, Jake, thank you for having me. I think it's really important to realize that last Wednesday was when the president announced this new American order, the new American economic plan. We're now 2 days in, right? You've got 2 days of data. Everyone, especially on your side, on the left, is freaking out.
I'm not on the left.
But at the end of the day, listen, this whole concept, all right, Jake, thank you. This whole concept is about rebuilding an American economy around American goods, around American industry.
Yeah, so that reaction from Jake Tapper sums up the smug attitude from CNN. That's why MSDNC gets better ratings than they do, because at least MSDNC is honest about who they are. They are not afraid to say we are on the left. We definitely hate Donald Trump. They're not afraid. But CNN likes to act, oh, we are professionals. We don't really hate Trump. We're just reported on the facts. Okay. And everybody sees right through that. So yes, Jake Tapper, you are on the left. Now this takes us to our third story, and that is Bernie Sanders. He's continued to come out and criticize the Democratic Party. He believes he has the solutions because they have failed the working class in this country.
You're speaking to working people, but if you could look the Democratic leadership in the House and Senate in the eye and tell them
I do
one
look
thing.
at them. I meet with them every day.
I know you don't shy away, but what could you tell them now about what to hear from your rallies, your events?
That's not quite the question. I mean,
what is the question then? What do they need to know?
Why are they held in so low esteem? Why has the working class of this country largely turned away from them? And what do you have to do to recapture that working class? Do you think working people are voting for Trump because he wants to give massive tax breaks to billionaires that cut Social Security and Medicare? I don't think so. It's because people say, I am hurting. Democratic Party has talked a good game for years. They haven't done anything. So I think what the Democratic Party has to make a fundamental decision, and I'm not sure that they will make the right decision. Which side are they on? Are they going to continue to hustle large campaign contributions from very, very wealthy people? Or do they stand with the working class?
So my response to Bernie Sanders is this. Number one, listen, Democrats don't even have humility, let alone the ability to take responsibility. So there's no way that they would actually make a decision like that. Number two, Democrats have a credibility issue. They covered up Joe Biden's mental decline. And not only did they cover it up, but they made people like you and me feel like we're crazy or something. They call this conspiracy theories. And number three, the media can't be trusted either. They don't have credibility as well. So when you come out and you say, well, we are for the working class, the problem is, even if you truly mean it, you broke the trust and nobody believes you. Now, to prove my point even further, take a look at this exchange between Jake Tapper and Tim Walz.
Don't you think your party needs to acknowledge that President Biden was not up for the job of running for re-election and that this was a major mistake by the
He made
Democrat-
that decision.
I know, but you all went along with
he
the
made that
idea that he
decision.
was up for it and he wasn't. And everybody saw it and the country rejected it.
Yeah, well, look, history will tell us to go back on that. That very well could be the case, Jake. What I'm concerned about is learning from those lessons. I would hope we would never do it again, make a mistake, make sure we go through and get someone. But I don't know where it helps us going forward. I certainly am deeply concerned that Donald Trump is going to lead us down a horrific... Look, thank God it's tariffs that he said. Donald Trump listens to no one. Remember, Donald Trump has statements about, I don't think nuclear war would be that bad. I guess we're lucky that he went after tariffs instead of that route. Yeah. We have an issue in this country that is going to impact us. And if there is not a loyal opposition, if there's not some soul searching on our side, if there's not reaching out to those folks who are in the streets, they're leading right now.
You see, that's everything wrong with individuals on the left. And yes, Jake Tapper, you are on the left, okay? The media just has amnesia. They act like they didn't even help cover it up, okay? That's the way he was framing that question. That's number one. Number two, now Tim Walz wants to accept the idea that it was a mistake. But you didn't say that 6 months ago, right? I find that to be interesting. And number three, this is a waste of time because you're so obsessed with President Trump. Now you're obsessed with selling books about Joe Biden's scandal. But what you're not obsessed with is actually creating solutions and communicating those solutions to the American people, which is why President Trump has a higher approval rating today than he did last week. But hey, if you're Cory Booker, you can care less about that approval rating because your mission is to continue to repeat the same lie over and over and over again because, you know, eventually the voter base will believe you. Take a look at this.
I'm really proud, and it's not about Democrats or Republicans right now. I'm just proud of Americans that saying I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired, that I'm hearing the voices of my neighbors who are hurting, who are scared, who are afraid, who've lost their jobs, who are in danger of losing their health care, who've lost benefits and services at Social Security. And I'm going to join in the fight. And I'm going to stand for my family. I'm going to stand for my parent with Alzheimer's who relies on Medicaid, my neighbor who has a child who's disabled who relies on Medicaid. I'm going to stand for the veterans. I'm going to stand for people who've seen their retirement security explode, who've seen their prices go up. I'm going to stand for people that are being disappeared off of American sidewalks. I'm going to stand for scientists who've seen their funding for their critical research cut.
All right. Cory Booker wants us to believe that it's not about being a Democrat or Republican. But what he's really saying is a lot of the same old empty platitudes and talking points that do not lead to results. Okay, that's just the bottom line here. A lot of virtual signaling as well. And while he's doing all of that, President Trump is delivering on his promises. Listen to this.
Border crossings are down 95%. He is deporting tens of thousands of people who have been dangerous, including murderers from New York City. He is also making sure that, look, we've seen mortgage rates come down, inflation has come down, egg prices have come down. These are things you cannot ignore. It's been, he's brought home over or around a dozen hostages, people who were held overseas. And he, within 2 months, was able to get them back. So is there a little concern about the market? Absolutely there is. I think it is a little bit of a over-exaggeration by the market at this moment, and I would equate it to a little turbulence as you move to smooth skies. But you've seen trillions of dollars in investment. You've seen companies saying that they're going to expand operations here. And, of course, a great jobs report the other day, nearly 250,000 new jobs.
And that's what the facts are, ladies and gentlemen. President Trump is fulfilling the promises that he made on the campaign trail. Obviously, the results on some of those promises will take time. But overall, I can't remember the last politician who actually did exactly what they said they were going to do. And so Democrats have nothing to really say, and there's nothing they really can do except to just let things happen and wait till the midterms and see how Americans feel about everything. Which brings me to the question of this video. How do you feel so far about what President Trump is doing overall, especially as it pertains to these tariffs? Because they want me and you to believe that Republican voters have buyer remorse. Do you agree with that assessment? Let me know what your response is in the comment section below. Now, yesterday there was breaking news in regards to a new bombshell poll that shows President Trump's approval rating increasing to 53%. Clearly, this debunks the idea that there is buyer remorse. But if you missed out on that story and others from yesterday, all you have to do is click on that video because it's coming up right now.